What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Moving to Florida show. We have got some listener questions for you today that we're going to hopefully have answers to. I don't know. I got Mo the Pro here. What do you say, Mo?
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Judson. He is Mohit, and Mo asked me before we hit record how my vacation was, but let's talk about that on the back end.
Sounds good. He's like, don't ask me that question right now.
Well, Mo, you always want to chit chat before we hit record. You always want to chit chat before we hit record, and I did a little Florida staycation.
Nice,
I guess you would
nice.
say.
So let me ask you now: how was your vacation, Judson?
Exhausting.
You need a vacation from the vacation.
Before we hit record, he said I look nice and relaxed.
You do.
Said, no, I'm just tired.
Yeah, I was like, you look chilling. You got your white shirt on. It looked like you were at the beach.
Yeah, actually, I was suited up today. I don't have my jacket on anymore.
Oh, you're wearing your suit today?
Yeah, suited up, man.
You got a closing?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a quick preview on that. No, we had a meeting today.
Okay. Cool.
I'll give you a quick preview on the Florida Staycation. Celebrated 10-year anniversary with my wife.
Woo-hoo!
We had a little day date over in St. Pete. So I can tell you a little bit about St. Pete over at Clearwater, Tampa area.
Nice.
We had a VIP day at Disney, which was super cool.
Yeah.
And then spent a week at the beach at Miramar Beach up in the Panhandle of Florida. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll tell you guys all about that in the wrap up here. How about it?
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
So yeah, first, Mo, we do have some listener questions. Thank you guys so much for reaching out with these questions. I like to hang on to them. Of course, we always, if you send us a text or give us a phone call on our hotline, we'll always answer your questions as quick as we can. But we also like to reserve them so we can come back and talk about them too.
True.
So Mo, first, Jessie. Jessie is actually a client of mine that I've turned on to the show. So she's been listening to the show too.
Fantastic.
Planning a move to Florida a little later this year. But one of the questions she had, she said that she said, I've heard some builders are raising the prices like $50,000 or $100,000 after the home is like almost completed, after you're under contract and the home's almost done. Like, what's up with that?
Right.
So Mo, what do we say to this?
Okay. Well, it's not all builders that are doing that. I know there's a handful of builders that are doing this. It's called escalation clause. They're going to make you sign that prior to or during your signatures on the contract. So if that's something that you don't want to do, you don't need to do that. But remember, you're going to be, if it's your perfect home or it checks all the boxes, you're going to have to go to another builder that does not do an escalation clause.
Do the escalation clause. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, yes, one bright point on this escalation clause is that you have an out. If the builder does come to you and says, "Hey, we're raising the price $50,000," for instance, and you don't have that $50,000, or you don't want to pay that $50,000, or you don't want your mortgage to go up, or you barely made that cut, and you want to say, "Hey, no, I don't want this escalation," they're going to give you your deposits back, and you go on your merry way. But the advantage for the builder here is they're going to raise it another $150,000 or to market value. So let's say
they go back on market.
Yeah,
right.
Once they go back on market, because obviously you're going to walk away from your contract. Your home is already pre-built, so it's already spec'd out, and they're probably in block or in framing or in drywall when they do come to you. Now, is it fair to have this escalation clause? It depends. Not like I said, if all builders were doing it, there was a reason for that. That means, pricing is going up. We know, lumber goes up, windows go up, steel goes up, aluminum even goes up. Everything's going up, as you know.
Right.
As gas prices go up, everything trickles down with it because it's shipping costs that's going up. Or the materials itself are going up in whatever country or even our own country that it's coming from. Even Canada, where lumber is mostly coming from, and out of, let's say, 50 plants, maybe 20 are still closed, and there's 30 that's open. Now they're taking advantage of the market of inflation. So yes, I do see where an escalation clause may come in, but that's, again, that would be your preference. If the house is something that you
Is
really
the perfect one.
is the perfect one. Are you willing to move forward with it with that escalation clause?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, not all builders are doing an escalation clause. So let's mention that first.
Right.
Now, I don't have a specific list of who is or who isn't.
Yeah.
And things change over time. I know we first started seeing this escalation clause thing back in 2021 when lumber prices were spiking.
Yes.
And they were just, insane, up multiple percent. Or multiple times. They were up
right.
3x what they normally were.
Right.
And that's when we started seeing these escalation clauses pop up. And I think probably the reason that, Jesse, who reached out with this question, is hearing that now, because now we're at the stage where those homes that had the escalation clause in the contract, now they're like getting closer to being completed. And the builders are coming back and saying, hey, we did have extra costs here. So I know on the face of it, it kind of just looks like the builders are being greedy. Like, hey, we can raise the price whenever we want.
Right.
And I know when I first heard of it, that was kind of my gut instinct too. But yeah, reality is, if you look at everything that's going on in our economy right now, prices of everything are going up.
Right.
So the builders that do have this escalation clause, they're really just trying to, cover their backside and make sure that they're not losing money when they're building houses.
True.
And I don't think that at least I would like to think that the builders aren't just looking at it and going, hey, if we get this person out of the contract, we can turn around and sell it for $150,000 more.
Right.
Maybe that is going on some level, but I don't think that, the builders, they are public companies and they don't want to have that. They want to have goodwill too. Right. So I don't think that that's going on. But definitely escalation clause is something to be aware of. And when you're going to sign a contract with a builder, you want to make sure, at least that you're aware that there's an escalation clause in there, that it could possibly increase the price if the builder sees increased prices.
Right. I don't know. I haven't seen too many, like you said, I haven't seen too many builders do it. Maybe there's a handful, but not all builders are doing this. Now, some builders are doing, highest and best. So that's making up for an escalation clause for that instance. So if prices did go up, they're putting the base price and saying, hey, it's highest and best time. And people are going up 40, 50, 60 grand. So that's where they're covering their costs at that time.
True. Yeah, that's happening too. All right, man. Up next, Amanda from St. Louis actually texted us on our text line.
Yep.
And she said, hi, already in tears of happiness today because my kids are finally up and ready to move to Florida. Then I came across your podcast and this text line. So this was definitely meant to be. Any tips on where to begin? I'm overwhelmed with happiness with all the pieces coming together. I'm starting from scratch. I would like to be within a coastal community and comfortable drive to the beach. I'm a nurse and I have family in Clearwater, but I'm open-minded and we have 2 teenagers. Thanks for the podcast. It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for those comments.
Yeah. So, Amanda, I have to start. I mean, if you've got, there you go. Well, look, if you have family in Clearwater already, I mean, that kind of hits all the marks that you said, coastal community, short drive to the beach.
Right.
That sounds like Clearwater.
Right.
Depends on how close you want to be to your family, I guess.
Right. Tampa is an option for you because it's still, 15, 20, 30 minutes away from the beach, going to Clearwater or any other beach around there. St. Pete.
St. Pete, yeah. I think we need to give a quick little geographical lesson here because I think people always think of Tampa and they think it's the ocean, that Tampa is the Gulf, but it's really not.
Not really,
you go through Tampa and Tampa is on the bay.
Right.
And then once you cross over the bay, then you have kind of the island where you have Clearwater and St. Pete.
Yeah, exactly. So Tampa's on the west coast of Central Florida because it's still considered Central Florida. Tampa all the way to Daytona would still be Central Florida.
Right.
That's the I-4 corridor. That's what we call it, the I-4 corridor, because the interstate that runs through us is called the I-4 or Interstate 4. Tampa's, like I said, Tampa's still fairly close. If you want to be on the West Coast, white sandy beaches, clear waters, you know what I mean? It's beautiful out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could go over to the East Coast as well. I mean, we've got, certainly like Brevard County out on the East Coast of Florida. Again, we're kind of stuck in Central Florida here.
Right.
But, I mean, you're still reasonable, a couple of hours back over to that family in Clearwater, but you can kind of do your own thing over on the East Coast. I think probably Brevard, that area is going to be a little more affordable probably than like Tampa. Mm-hmm. Tampa certainly over the last, especially couple of years, has really blown up and definitely gotten pricier.
Yep. And I was in Tampa Tampa not too long ago, and yeah, prices over there are even higher than Orlando, if you ask me. Yes, there are a lot of companies that are moving into Tampa too. That's bringing in a lot of business and bringing in a lot of executives. So they're starting to build, very, very expensive homes out there.
Yep, for sure. Amanda, you could also look up to like Pensacola, up in the Panhandle. You could be up in the kind of northwestern tip of Florida. But Pensacola is pretty affordable, but you've got Pensacola Beach right there, close by. So you got the beach access. Certainly being a nurse, Amanda, you could do whatever, you could probably get a job just about anywhere. Right. I know everywhere is hiring nurses in Florida.
Yep. So yeah, we're definitely going to anywhere in Florida that you want to be in. It's going to be nice. It's going to be, close to the beach, unless you're like, I would say, where would you say it would be the furthest away from a beach in Florida?
Furthest away from a beach in Florida. I don't know. That sounds like a trivia question,
right? I was like, there isn't a spot. I can't think of a spot where you'd be more than an hour and a half away from a beach. I would say Orlando will probably be the furthest away because but any direction you go,
Coco's an hour away from Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. Melbourne, that whole area, it's close by. It's still only an hour and 15 minutes.
Maybe even like the more remote, like South Florida areas, like, think about like Sebring.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, they're probably an hour from Vero, probably not far.
Yeah, they're not that far. Exactly. So, I mean, any part you want to be in, you're going to be an hour and a half tops from a beach, I guess, if you live in Florida. But if you really want to be close to, the beach and not want to drive too much, you want to stay around like the Tampa, maybe Melbourne, Brevard County, Hillsborough County. If you really want to be in the coast side, then you can really get to, St. Pete and, Clearwater.
Yep. Or even South Florida. I mean, there's all kinds of coastal communities down South Florida. Now, definitely it gets more expensive down there, especially on the East Coast of Florida down, as you get closer to Miami. But I mean, there's a lot of different cool communities down there. I'd say, go back and listen to our past episodes. We've had people from all over the state, come on the show. Just go back and listen to those past episodes talking about different areas. And we're always looking for new guests as well to come on and tell us about their area. So we'll certainly, be talking about more Florida coastal communities in the future.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right, Mo, you ready for the next one?
Let's go.
All right. Elizabeth wrote in and asked, at what point should I reach out to a realtor about my move? If it's still a ways off, should I wait until I'm closer to my move, or should I start talking to somebody now?
Talk to them now. At least they can keep in communication with you. So whenever you are ready to make that jump, they are prepared.
Yeah, agreed. I'd say as soon as possible, as soon as you have a good idea of where in Florida you're going to land, which, hey, this kind of goes back to our last question, right? I mean, as Florida realtors, Mo and I technically could work anywhere in the state. We can sell homes anywhere in the state, but it gets a little difficult when you're out of your own market and you don't know, you don't have access to the local MLS. True. And you're not familiar with the territory.
Right.
But so I'd say once you really have it nailed down where you're going to move to, what part of Florida you're going to move to, that's a good time. If you're having trouble figuring that part out, hey, just like I just said, go back and listen to some of our past episodes where we've talked to people from all over the state. Or, certainly you're welcome to reach out to us with specific questions and we can kind of point you in the right direction as well.
Right. And if you're buying cash, obviously, just let us know what's your maximum amount of cash you want to use to purchase your home, and probably we can locate a good area for you that your cash will go a long way. But if you're getting a loan, I would reach out to the realtor. Realtor will probably have a lender or two that they use often, and they would connect you with that if you need a loan. And then according to what your loan amount would be, that's where I think would be a good starting point of where you need to be.
Yep. Spot on. All right, Mo, I got kind of a 2-for-1 here. I got two more questions, but let me go ahead and get to both of them first, okay. and then we'll give our answer here. So first, Jamie from the UK asks, what's the deal with HOAs? Do I want to live in an HOA or not? And then I also had Dakota, who actually reached out to me on Instagram, and Dakota said, I spent a lot of time on the moving to Florida group. It seems like common questions and concerns are around the HOA and their strict rules. Example, there was just a post about someone being upset that they couldn't park their RV in the driveway. Another comment stated that their HOA doesn't allow dogs over 30 pounds, or even that they don't allow you to park a pickup truck because it's viewed as a work vehicle. Can you cover more of that? So there we go, Mo. Question about HOAs.
HOA. We've done, I think, a couple of episodes on just HOA. I would refer back to our HOA episodes. But most, I guess, Florida is so spread out when it comes to HOA communities, and every community has their own set of rules. And the best thing to do is if you want to be a part of a certain community, you like the house, and they do have an HOA in that community, get the covenants, get the rules and regulations. If they don't match your desires or your principles and whatever you want to do, if they don't match that, move on to the next one. If you go into a non-HOA community, obviously you have to abide by county rules and city rules. And see what those are. For the most part, you have a little bit more freedom with the non-HOA community, but then your neighbor can paint his house purple and green with orange polka dots. Do you want to be in a community that does that? I've never seen that happen where your neighbor's coloring a different color. As far as like a bright color like that.
Something extreme.
Extreme.
But
exactly.
it can happen.
It can.
I mean, that's the bottom line. If you're not in an HOA, there's nothing that says your neighbor can't paint their house just super crazy colors or whatever.
Right.
And that is kind of what the HOAs do. I mean, they're basically set up to maintain the values of the homes in that community, to keep a certain aesthetic, to keep the homes looking good. Yeah, I mean, they maintain the common areas. So if you got, a pretty brick wall or flowers or whatever at the entrance, they're maintaining that stuff. Sometimes putting up the Christmas decorations or whatever at that time of year. Right. If it's a gated community, always a gated community is going to be an HOA, because in a gated community, the HOA actually maintains, well, not just the gate, but the roads, too.
It's private roads.
Yep. So, but I mean, that's the whole idea, is that the HOA is set up to maintain the value, to keep the homes in the neighborhood looking nice, so that neighborhood maintains their home values. That's the whole idea of the HOA. Yeah. Now, certainly some of them are more strict than others, just like Dakota mentioned, that you can't park an RV in the driveway. Well, guess what? There are actually, if you've got an RV, there are actually RV neighborhoods. There are neighborhoods where they have RV garages. Yeah. In the entire neighborhood, or even a lot of those will have where you can have a carport outside that you can put your RV in. So there are actually neighborhoods in Florida set up specifically for that. Likewise, there are definitely weight limits on animals. I think that one's probably usually more like condos that are going to have a weight limit on animals. That's what I see a lot, is that condos would be a little more specific to that. But definitely the pickup truck is one that I've heard a lot more. I don't think I've ever seen a community that just said flat out, you can't park a truck in the driveway, but definitely anything with like logos on it or anything like that. I've seen restrictions on that. Right. And I have seen homeowners have to either get like a vehicle cover, and actually when they park in their driveway, put a cover over it.
Yeah. There's always a way around that one.
It does happen. It happens.
Yeah. Like I said, just go back to the community's covenants, the HOA's covenants and rules and regulations. And, I guess the realtor or even the website should have that information for you, and you can always read it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the bottom line. Just make sure you know what you're getting into before you go under contract on a home in an HOA. Fair?
Fair enough.
Anything else on HOAs, Mo?
No, that's it. We've done a lot of episodes on HOA. I think we'll come back to it and do another full episode on what HOAs mean here in Florida, as far as, particular communities and what are their rules.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely a common thing here. We hear that a lot because Florida is like the HOA king, right? We got more of them here than anywhere. And some HOAs can do some crazy things. They have a lot of power. I mean, that's the reality. They do have a lot of power. So definitely, something to be aware of.
Is that the last questions?
That is the last question I got, though.
All right.
I'll come back to HOAs. So we spent a little time in Miramar Beach, Florida, and we were in an HOA community actually, but it allowed short-term rentals. But we were in a gated community near the beach, which was kind of cool. I'd never seen those before.
Nice. I've seen one or two here that are in Davenport in Champions Gate area, but they're nowhere near a beach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in that area you do have them. Yeah, well, it was interesting because we had 5 different families staying in this Airbnb. It was a bunch of my wife's cousins, and so we came from all different. Most of them came from Tennessee, but there are 5 families and then a couple of single cousins as well. And we had like 7 vehicles between everybody. And apparently there was an HOA rule that you can only have 4 vehicles in the driveway. And we're near the beach. We ended up parking in the driveway anyway. It was a huge driveway. There was room for all of the vehicles. Well, plus there was a golf cart. We had a rental golf cart was included with the rental. Cool. Like I said, you could ride down to the beach. Because it said it was 2 blocks, but it was definitely more than 2 blocks.
What do you consider a block over there?
I don't know. We were there for 6 nights, and we parked all of the vehicles in the driveway. It was plenty big enough. It was a 7-bedroom, 4,500 square foot house, so there was plenty of room. I don't know. Again, weird HOA rule, but I guess if we were only staying there for 6 days versus living there, they didn't have time for us to get in trouble. Right. Or at least I haven't heard anything about it since we got back home.
There you go. You didn't see any extra charges in your credit card, right?
Not yet.
What else did you guys do?
That's the thing. The HOAs do move a little bit slow. So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, right. So how was the rest of your trip?
Well, okay, so I'll backtrack. So I kind of teased you guys on the front side. Yeah. Celebrated my 10-year anniversary. Congratulations, to my wife, Elizabeth. And so we've been talking about, I actually gave her a choice. I said, what do you want to do? We knew we had a very busy week and a half coming up after it too. But I gave her a choice. I was actually planning to go check out Epperson, the lagoon.
Oh,
Crystal
cool.
Lagoon.
Yeah.
I thought that would be fun because we were like, hey, relax and just stay on the beach. Had childcare set up, figure we could just hang out and relax. But then she was like, well, we're going to be at the beach all next week. So we'd also been talking about going to the Dali Museum, the Salvador Dali Museum.
Yeah.
So we went and checked that out. It was very cool.
Yeah.
So it was neat, seeing the museum, actually seeing original Salvador Dali paintings. Huge. They were 13-foot tall paintings.
Wow.
It was crazy. So that was cool. It was very neat. And Picasso was there. I guess there's they have rotating other stuff that comes through. So Picasso, or at least his artwork, was there. I got to say, I'm a fan of the Dali stuff more than the Picasso, but I don't know. Sometimes you start looking at this, you're like, man, these guys are disturbed a little bit. But look, so St. Pete was very cool though. We had never really spent any time. I've been to St. Pete, but I guess never really spent any time there. I didn't realize how much of an arts district they have there.
Yeah, the Soho district.
We actually. Yeah, we walked over to a pier that they had, and there was as we were walking to this pier, there was a restaurant on the end of the pier that we were going to eat at, which was awesome. We had 360 views of the bay. Great restaurant called Teak.
Yeah.
But as we were walking there, we ended up walking through this covered walking area, and they had big photo printed things of all the murals around downtown, and it would actually tell you it had the name of the artist and where you could actually go see that mural.
Oh,
so
cool.
That was kind of cool. And we were like, well, we got to plan a trip back so we can come see all of these. Apparently there's murals all over downtown St. Pete. So yeah, that was cool. We really liked it, and we were really we got a plan to come back here and check it out a little bit more.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. So that was neat. Then the next day we had a VIP Disney World day.
Yeah.
Which is, I got to tell you, that's the only way to do Disney. There was 8 of us, and we're totally spoiled now because we can't go back.
You can't stand in line anymore.
We didn't really. Well, that's the thing. I didn't know what it was, what it was going to be. I thought it was backstage, telling you about Disney and stuff.
Right.
But no, it was we had a tour guide the entire day.
Right. And
we met up with her, and she's like, all right, what do you want to ride?
Yeah. Well, let's go. Let's hit the.
And she literally, she was just follow me. And that lady walked fast.
Yeah. You got to keep up.
And she was beeline. We went and hopped on the Jungle Cruise first thing. We were at Magic Kingdom. We hopped on the Jungle Cruise and went straight from that to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing.
Which park did you guys end up going to?
we went to Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. We went to all three.
Oh, cool.
We didn't have time for Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom's huge.
Right.
We wanted to, but it was only an 8-hour thing. But like literally we were nonstop for the entire 8 hours. So we went to, like I said, it's just ride after ride because she's literally taking you to the front of the line. Like you hop in whatever the quick queue is. We probably waited between all of the rides we rode, like combined maybe 30 minutes.
Wow.
Between everything.
Wow.
And we rode, I mean, there were some rides that we didn't ride, but they were the rides that aren't hard to get on anyway. You know what I mean? We just kind of skipped over those. We got to do Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios. Wow. So that was cool. Well, so actually when we would ride a ride,
right,
and every few rides, she'd be like, all right, I'm going to make a run. You know, what do you want? So it was included like water or sodas. Included in the tour. So like we'd get off of something and she'd have drinks all waiting for us.
So I was like, can I have another beer?
Yeah. I wasn't drinking, man, because it's hot already here in Florida.
You would have been burning all those calories anyways.
True. But it was cool. So when we finished at Magic Kingdom, we walked out through this like little back area and they handed us all like Mickey bars, like the ice cream bars. And we hopped in a van and she drove us to another back parking lot at Hollywood Studios. And so like we had ice cream, we got out of the van and they were handing us all drinks and snacks again. Cool. And we walked in a back entrance and got right on Rock and Roller Coaster.
You felt like a celebrity for a day, didn't you?
It was, man. You see what I'm saying? Like we were spoiled. We went from that, finally got to see the Star Wars and do Rise of the Resistance, which was super cool. Yeah. That one, if you guys haven't been to Disney or haven't heard about it, it's like a big thing to be able to get onto that ride. Apparently, you have to like.
There's two rides there, right? There's the Rise of the Resistance, and then there's another one there.
There's Star Tours as well, which has been there for a little while. And we did not do that one.
Yeah.
I guess it's not as difficult to get into.
Right.
But yeah, and then so we did the stuff at Universal or at
Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios, yeah. I keep wanting to call it Universal Studios. Hollywood Studios. Then went on to Epcot, kind of did everything there, and like. The first half of the day went like that.
Yeah,
we were just like going. And then it kind of slowed down. And we actually had reservations at the Space 220.
Oh, cool.
Night, which was cool too.
How was that?
It was good food. It was an experience. It's kind of pricey. I don't know that I'd go there. I'd go there again.
Yeah.
But it's not something I'd make like a regular thing, which it's hard to get reservations there. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a cool experience. So, by the way, thank you to my sister-in-law Hillary for taking us on that whole experience. Because it was
I need your sister-in-law's phone number so we could do this. It sounds like so much fun, bro.
Dude, but we were all like, even halfway through the day, we're like, we're totally broken. We can't come to Disney again without doing this. Like, it's just. Can't do it any other way now.
Man, that's you guys are spoiled now.
So that was super cool. And then we went up to Miramar Beach the next day. Like literally we got home at like midnight that night. Had not packed because we had our anniversary and then the Disney day.
Right.
And we were just busy because the whole week before that we're trying to finalize things, take care of our clients and all of that, getting ready to go. So we packed literally that morning. We had a babysitter overnight. One of our recent clients, who's also a good friend,
right?
Their 13-year-old daughter kept our son.
Nice.
The parents helped; they kept him overnight, so we had
Right.
childcare, that
Cool.
day. And so we literally like packed, put the paddleboard and kayak on top of the car, and then went and got our son and drove up to Miramar Beach, which is basically Destin. Is like next
Destin,
little thing over from Destin, Florida. And dude, the water was gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's beautiful water. I mean, clear water. Is nice. It's pretty, but it's a different tone of teal up there. It was, man. So the beaches were beautiful, and we just spent a week really relaxing, hanging out. We didn't do a whole lot other than go to the beach or hang out at the house.
Right.
But there were 12 kids there in our group of layers.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to coordinate everything.
I think at one point there were 29 people in the house. A couple of them were like locals that were also family.
Right.
So they weren't staying in the house, but there were 29 of us there, 12 kids from ages like 2 to 12 or 13.
Wow.
So it was a madhouse for us with one kid. We have a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
12 kids. Whew, it was a good time.
Right.
We had fun. I know
Definitely
my son had a
experience.
blast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just hung out on the beach, took the paddle boards and kayak and stuff like that, and we had a good time.
Good.
But yeah, now I've been playing catch up. It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen your face, Mo.
Yep.
So glad to get to catch up.
I don't
a
see
little
any
bit.
tan or anything like that. You were on the beach. You're not tan. Well, he's not through the computer.
Yeah. Well, I already had a good base tan.
Okay.
I already had a good base tan. I did for probably a month ahead of time. I was like, I'm not getting burnt. I got a good base tan going on ahead of time.
Cool.
Everybody in the first the first full day that we were there, everybody got sunburned.
Oh,
everybody did. So the day 2, they're all like, we're gonna hang out by the pool in the shade.
Right.
Nobody went to the beach the second day except
Everyone
for I
nice
took my
and crispy.
paddleboard. Yeah, I took my paddleboard and went out there to the beach, and that was it.
Yeah, so I can go. I've already got my tan. I got my base
Yeah.
tan. Cool.
We did see a shark.
Oh,
That
nice.
was cool.
How was that experience like?
Nothing major. It
Oh.
was my wife and I had just gotten out to the beach on, I don't remember what day it was. Probably one of the last days, like the 4th day or something like that. We were the first ones that got out there, and just there were people in the water. It was on probably maybe a 4-foot long shark,
Maybe.
and we just saw it. Like, it gets a little deep, and then
Right.
it goes back up to the sandbar, but the sandbar was not very far out, and you could just see him swimming along. He wasn't paying attention to anybody, and there were literally there were people in the water. I did see some people getting out. I know a lot of people looking, and that's what caught my attention and made me look. But he's just swimming along parallel to the shore, doing his own thing.
Yeah. He was probably full already.
Yeah. Picked up a couple of tourists.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it'll hit the news.
But yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, it was a good time. We had a good vacation. We are still, I feel like, recovering and playing catch up.
Cool.
So we just got back this past weekend, but glad to get back to recording. We got more coming, guys. Thank you for putting up with me rambling about that vacation.
No worries, man. It's good to know.
Staycation. I guess I should say. We did stay in Florida the whole time.
Yep.
But yeah, and hey, this was episode about listener questions, so we still want to hear those questions. Mo, why don't you tell them where they can get in contact with us?
All right, we want to hear from you. You can reach us on our Moving to Florida show hotline by dropping a voicemail or texting us at 407-900-5859, or drop us a DM on Facebook or Instagram at Moving to Florida Show. And for Twitter, our handle is at Moving to FL Show. If you'd like to connect with us, if you have any questions, or if you need a realtor in Florida, you can reach us at movingtofloridashow@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to the show if you like our content, so that it would automatically download to your device and get you one step closer to moving to Florida.